Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 82. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the podcast, go ahead and tweet at us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is Sean Beatty. Kev's at Kev's Believe the First Thing Believes Me in a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos, dislike our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below of all the topics we talk about. We have been away for a little bit, so I'm going to talk really fast and go through all the stuff you've missed while we were away. So let's start with the OL Reign. They have played 4 games since we were last on the pod, the air, the YouTube, whatever you want to call it. They have won 2, drawn 1, and lost another. They are back in action this Sunday, July 10th at against the Portland Thorns at Lumen Field. So if you're in Seattle, go check them out, 3 p.m. Pacific time. But if you can't go to the game yourself, it will be on Twitch. Twitch is very easy. Just download Twitch. It's very easy to watch. So please keep supporting the OL Reign. Let's also talk about the Seattle Storm. And they've been playing pretty well while we've been away. They have won 4 of the last 7. They are back in action on Tuesday at the Indiana Fever. So keep supporting the Storm. And we do have to pause here really quickly because Sue Bird officially announced her retirement after the season. She has 3 national titles to her name, 5 gold medals, and 4 WNBA titles. So that is GOAT status right there, first of all. So Sue Bird will definitely be getting an invite to the Basketball Hall of Fame. But Sean, are you sad about Sue Bird retiring, and are you going to try and catch a game before she retires?
I'd love to catch a game. I don't know if I'll be able to, but yeah, I mean, if you include women's sports, which you should, in the Mount Rushmore of Seattle icons, she has to be one of the 4, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
I mean,
I would have to say
she's probably the
given. Yeah.
We'll get on a little tangent. Who do you guys have as your 4, real quick? I mean, she has to kind of be. She's like the one. Walter Jones 2.
I think you go Sue Bird, Walter Jones, Ken Griffey Jr.
See, Ken Griffey Jr. is close, but Ken Griffey Jr. didn't stay. He spent half his career somewhere else, too.
I mean, you could probably throw Edgar in there if you want to take Ken Griffey out. Either or is fine with me. And then trying to draw from other sports. I mean, you could make a case for a sounder like Stephen Fry, who's been a part of a couple titles. You could go Gary Payton, who helped lead the Sonics to the NBA Finals in '95.
Who do you got, Kevin? Who do you got?
I don't know. I think I'd probably go Gary Payton just to spread the wealth.
You put Johnson in there too, even though I know he went elsewhere. It mainly not only about like whole, because for part of it I put whole career, but also just like what they brought to Seattle.
Yeah,
I have to kind of put Russell Wilson in there too, even though I know people, especially right now with him just leaving, the sting's still there. I would probably put Russell in there because he got you a ring or helped.
I would only hesitate only because, like, let's say he plays till like Brady, till he's like 44. He will spend a lot of time somewhere else too.
True, but he got you your first Super Bowl.
I know, but like,
I definitely wouldn't put Pete Carroll in that shit.
No,
but
it's just players only. So Super
Kevin,
I'm
with Kevin, but I would say he's behind Walter. Like, he's second.
Like, Walter was like arguably top 3 lineman of all time and played his whole career in Seattle. Like, GOAT status. Absolutely. Sue Bird.
Oh yeah, no, I have Walter.
One of the greatest players ever. GOAT status. Those 2 are locked in. Mine comes down to, do you put Steve Largent up there? Because when Steve retired, he was the greatest receiver of all time when he retired, and a lifetime Seahawk.
I would definitely. It would be in the mix.
He's hard to leave off because he had all the records.
Steve Bird in there, to be honest, just because of what she's done.
Yeah. I might have to throw Largent in because, again, context. When he retired, he had the touchdown, reception. He was the greatest NFL receiver and was a lifetime Seahawk. Jerry Rice then shortly shattered it, but still, like, that's not his problem, like, that's not.
So if I were to do it, I would probably say Walter.
You think I'll go Walter, Sue, Steve, and Ken Griffey Jr. That's the 4.
I'm going Walter, Sue, Ken Griffey Jr., Gary Payton.
I think of Ichiro as a possibility to hit.
Yeah, he is too.
He is too, yeah, absolutely.
Ken Griffey, just like also outside of baseball, same with Ichiro, had a huge cultural impact. Same with Ichiro.
Well, I would say Ken Griffey is Seattle baseball to this point. Like that, like we still reminisce about that all the time.
So I probably say Walter, Ken, Sue, Ichiro / Russell. Only not only that, but also think that literally because of Ichiro, so many players have come over from Japan to us.
Yeah,
because like Ichiro opened the door, like, hey, these guys are fucking amazing.
Ichiro opened the door to hitters coming over here. He was like the first Japanese hitter, because they thought you couldn't do it. He was like the first. That's what I was saying with Kevin's cultural impact. He changed like baseball. So did Ken Griffey Jr.
So, and also because of his arm too being out in the outfield, it was just freaking nuts as well. So I would say it's kind of like a split between Ichiro and Russell at this point.
So to answer your question, Matthew, yes, I'm sad Super's leaving.
Kevin, you gonna try and catch a game before you go? I'm gonna try and go in August. That's my plan.
Maybe I'm trying to get up to Seattle probably sometime end of summer to at least like catch a Mariner game, and then if possible, I would like to go see Sue Storm play in them, but just depending on how much time I can get off. So it'd be if it's available and I'm up there, sure, I'd catch a game.
All right. Well, the Seattle Storm are 13-8, second in the Western Conference right now, although conference standings don't mean anything in the full playoff picture for WNBA. But the Storm are doing well after kind of a slow start. And let's move on. We're going to touch quickly on some Seattle Kraken news as well. The NHL draft is this Thursday, July 7th. And after doing some quick research before the podcast, but I'm going to let Sean go first. So the Kraken have the 4th overall pick. Sean, who do you like for them to take in that 4th overall spot?
I would really have loved if they could have been the 3rd pick, because I think there's a big drop off from the top 3 guys. If ideal circumstance, Logan Cooley could fall at the center. That would be my pick of picks. I think he has the very good likelihood of, versus the other 2, they're going to probably go 1-2. He has a very good likelihood of being actually the best player out of the 3. That said, I don't think he makes it to 4. The Kraken have a bunch of, their need is depth everywhere. There is no goalie to take here that deserves to go 4. So ideally, I'd like to pull like a Seahawk and trade back and get a bunch of more picks on top of the picks already got at the trade deadline, because you just need depth. You already have Matty Beniers, you have a couple other guys, but you need depth. You need a lot of D pieces. You need something. But if you end up picking, I guess the guy is Simon Nemec out of Slovakia. He's a D. He's a decent size, 6 feet, 200 pounds. He's got playing at elite level, and he's the guy I have them that they will probably likely take. The guy I want them to take is Logan Cooley.
Gotcha. I'm looking at a list of prospects here, and a couple names jump out. Ranked number 5 in North American skaters is Connor Geekie, related to Morgan Geekie, who is already on the team. So I could see them going that route.
If you trade back, that's the guy I would want. And that's ideally what I would want. And a Geekie would be the guy actually I would like, but you don't have to take him at 4. That you could trade back and still be at play for him.
Absolutely. And then another name that jumps off here is Kevin Korchinski, Seattle Thunderbird defenseman. They went to the WHL finals this year, lost to Edmonton, but we know that defensive unit needs some depth. Well, as Sean mentioned, they need depth everywhere, but the defenseman's not a bad pick there, because he's probably a guy who could come in and play for you right away. And if you don't want him to play right away, he's just down the road if you want to call him up for the last few games like you did with Beniers. So that's not a bad idea as well. There's a lot of, it seems like Shane Wright is the consensus overall number 1 pick.
There's been a lot of, I don't even want Jari. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. The guy from Finland. He's getting a lot of buzz. He might actually surprise some people. He might be the number one pick, but it's him or Shane Wright, probably 1-2. That's the order.
And then there's Cutter Gaither at 3 here on North American Skaters. Great name. So I mean that's a guy you can pick up and have the all name team as well. So
you got 4 second round picks as the Kraken. So if you got to move back and do that if you want, that is also something I would consider. Get as many first round picks as you can.
And the AHL just officially announced the Coachella Valley Firebirds as the 32nd AHL team. So now the Kraken officially have their AHL team locked up, ready to go. The rink is coming together nicely, so they'll be ready to go come November. But check out the NHL draft this Thursday and Friday. It's on ESPN, and then that's on ESPN Plus for rounds 2 through 7 on Friday. So we'll have a recap of that next week, but we'll see who the Kraken take at number 4. Oh, we'll see if they trade back like Sean wants them to, and maybe acquire a few more picks and put some depth into their farm system. But let's briefly talk about the Seattle Sounders. We missed their final few games of June. Since we have last been on the air, they have gone 3-1-1 wins against Vancouver and Sporting Kansas City, as well as Toronto FC. They lost to Montreal CF, but got a 1-1 draw with LAFC. So next game for the Sounders is going to be this Saturday against the Portland Timbers. And we all know how much we hate the Portland Timbers. So let's please tune in, show your Sounders pride, because we don't like Portland. No one likes Portland except for the Blazers, since we don't have a team right now. But no, Portland's no. So show up for your Seattle Sounders. But gentlemen, it's been quite a wild ride for the Seattle Mariners since we were last on the podcast. So I am not going to go over all of their games since we have last been on the podcast. But
when were we last on? When was the last?
Well, I remember because I said they had like that 13 game stretch before their next day off, which spoiler alert, I was wrong. They actually had a day off in the middle of that. But they had, it was the right before the Angels series.
Yeah, we were saying, hey, Mike Trout, please don't murder us.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And then he did.
And yeah.
So we were probably like in the middle of that Oakland series. Okay.
So since June 21st, it's been pretty good. They have lost 3 and won 5, 8, 11. So 11-3 since June 21st is not bad. They are currently 40-42, sitting at second in the AL West. So
let's just look at the wild card. We ain't catching that.
I'm gonna throw this to Kevin. What have you thought about the Seattle Mariners these past few weeks?
First and foremost, I need to. Sean kind of he pretty much predicted it on this broadcast, though. I mean, he's the best player in baseball, so we were pretty much, and I even tweeted it at him, saying, "Please don't murder us," and he was just like, "I'm gonna murder you guys," aka Mike Trout going literally ape shit on, because he was injured for a little bit, and then kind of they had that losing streak. They lost like 13 in a row, and then they fired Joe Madden, and then they bring in the interim guy, and we're like, Sean was like, we need to watch out because Mike Trout's just dude to go off, and he's just like,
somebody else beat us. That's all I was asking.
Literally, and I think me and Sean were like talking about it, like, just walk the fucker, just walk him. Like, literally, there was one game where he literally was a part of all their scoring. For that one of the games that we lost to him, he literally was a part of all this, either RBI or he had the run. Like, it was Mike Trout. Just walk him. Walk him. Like, he's that good. Yes, it's okay. You're not, like, it's not stupid. Just put him on base. Just like, take your base, sir. Just do it. But then, thank God we haven't had him in, recently, because Shohei Ohtani's just been going batshit crazy. 18 scoreless innings?
Something.
Is what it is. And then
OPS is 1300 too during that time.
I hear that's kind of
nuts. He's going.
I hear that's.
Well, Kevin, they did take 2 out of 3 from the Angels, the Angels 3 series ago, and we'll talk about what happened during that series a little bit later. But
Kevin, so your stats of them going crazy, Shohei Ohtani doing his thing. During that stretch, the Angels are below 500. So that's the very Angels thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like you have
It's 2 dudes and that's it.
yeah,
yeah.
two dudes and then just a bunch of
Yep.
so
So don't let those 2 guys beat you, Mariners. That's the whole game plan.
that
Just
sounds
don't.
like a good idea.
Yeah.
Other than that, it feels like ever since the brawl, that I think is what Matt's alluding to, they've kind of got like the fight back in them, so to speak. They're like it just gave them put some fire under their butt to where like they've been playing decently well. Now, would I have preferred we swept Oakland? Yes, but I'll take a series win over Oakland over this past weekend. But as me and Sean have already mentioned on this podcast, bad teams like Oakland, you need to sweep in order if you want to play catch up and have a chance at wild card. Like you got to sweep the bad teams.
They did sweep them once before, though. So
true,
yeah.
But like, and then when you play Baltimore, you should have swept them. You got a series win, cool, but you should have swept Baltimore as well because Baltimore's a big pile of poo-poo. Like, sweep those teams and then get series wins over the good to like really good teams. That's what you need to do, Mariners. Now, with that fight happening, some suspensions went down. All in all, JP served a sentence pretty much this past weekend.
He played today. Yeah, JP's back.
Yeah, he came back today. I totally forgot to put him on my roster today because I was at work. Let's see. I know Julio's got 1 game, isn't it?
Yeah, Jesse is currently serving now.
Yeah,
it got reduced to 6. So
okay. So we got Winker serving it right now, and I imagine when he gets back, he'll probably have Julio it'll just be a day off for Julio. And
which he needs.
And he deserves it because let's talk about that real quick. Julio going ape shit lately. I'll let the boys bring up the stats, but he's pretty much breaking records in his rookie year that only other really good players, kind of guys like Barry Bonds and stuff like that, Mike Trout, high caliber Hall of Fame names have been doing. So yeah. Pretty sexy to see. So hopefully they continue that and just keep giving him help too. Let's not make it all the Julio show. I like to see a little bit more consistency out some other bats, but I've been happy with Cal Raleigh getting a little bit more, but consistent bat play, which is good to see because we need to see our prospects starting to develop more and more and more. I want to see that, because Julio doing Julio things is good, but like for the future, for like when we're talking about next year and then past where we're in the years where we should be pushing playoffs and stuff like that, we're going to need these other guys to start developing a little bit quicker. And that's why it's nice to see Cal doing things like that, but I would like to see a little bit more. We need to see, we need to see not Kyle Lewis at AA, or excuse me, single A. Because he's in Everett, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So single A. Yeah. So all in all, I'm happy with what they've done. But like I said, if you want to make playoffs, Mariners, you got to start doing these sweeps, as we've mentioned. I get the other team is paid to play baseball. You get that. But like you have enough there to where I feel you can sweep the bad teams. So I'll pass it off.
Sean, what have you thought of the Seattle Mariners?
They have been since that we were talking on the Angels series. Did we talk about that 10-run game in Anaheim? Did we record before that? When Scott Service cost us a game? When the 10th inning started, the runner's on second base. There's two outs.
That was at home, and then Trout hit a homer.
You have a free guy, and Trout hit the homer. Like there's
that was after.
It's 2 outs. Don't like that. That's the example I was talking about. Just walk him, and then take your chances with the next guy, Ohtani. But still, it wasn't going hot to Ohtani. Even then, walk Ohtani. The one run is the one that's important, and you just pitch Trout. Stop pitching to Trout. If you have a base. like they did in the next game. They did it in the next series and they won 2 out of 3. You have that base, just walk him and then don't mess with him. Like, again, I'm not saying like when it comes to Toronto, you have to pitch to Vladdy because they're a more complete team and everything like that. But with the Angels, they're not proving it yet. So when they're going to give you, it's stars and scrubs. If they're going to give you 1 star, Rendon's gone too, they're going to give you 1 star, just walk him and then make the other guys beat you. And they didn't when they started using my tactic, or me and Kevin's tactic of just walk Trout whenever you get a 2-0 count, there's a free base, just walk him. The Mariners won 2 out of 3 games. And the one game they lost was because half their team got ejected. So they probably win that game if their team's not ejected. So, but honestly, like, yeah, which should be said again, the Mariners probably were going to win that game if they weren't all ejected. But that was the one game they lost. They lost the next game because Kirby decided to have his first bad game as a major leaguer. It happens, and then they did their things, and then they lost. They did play 4 games against Oakland, won 3. I'll take that. Like, that is sweeping a 4-game series is really hard, but they swept them before in a 3-game series and they took 3 out of 4, and then they beat San Diego. I would like a little bit more runs. They put them in bunches. They're like 8 or 9, and then it's like 2, 1. I'm like, just, you could, you don't have to. Like, I was talking to another friend me and Kevin have, and it's just like, the Mariners either are awesome or disappear. And I'm like, you got on those games where you disappear, just put a little something more together on the offensive side, because the pitching has been amazing. I saw a stat that says the Mariners, this was last week, the Mariners are the only team with 5, there you go, with all 5 of their starters to have 5 quality starts. The Mariners are like, their starters, I saw was in the 5th inning. Chris Flexen had the worst ERA on the team, and he had a 4.8 ERA, which is the worst starting ERA on the roster. So that was like, the pitching's been fantastic. The offense, once Kyle Lewis gets back, once Mitch Haniger, once Ty France, hopefully that'll all happen. But
can I just say this umpire had 0% chance of holding Jesse Winker back here? Like, come on.
No. And I want to talk about that too. Me and Kevin are in a league, and there was a debate. Can we just stop throwing at people now? Throwing at people doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't stop fights. It doesn't scare Jesse Winker. All it does is just piss people off and increase the chance of someone getting hurt by being hit with a baseball. If you want to taunt or do whatever, and then fight. But throwing at people is like where it gets ridiculous. And then throwing at heads is where it gets dangerous. And then like, stop throwing at people. You want to show someone up, strike them out, and then like taunt the hell out of them after you strike them out. You want to show someone up, hit a double, and taunt them at second base. Like Trout did a number of years ago against the Mariners when we had Rodney and he shot the arrow at our bench. Remember that, Mike Trout? That's what you do. You don't immediately have a last-minute replacement come in to pitch intentionally at Julio's head and then hit Jesse Winker because he missed Julio's head. That is some Bush League stuff. And honestly, at this point, it hurt the Mariners so much. I would have been like, you know what? Trout started this whole thing, Major League Baseball. He needs to be suspended as long as a manager because it is. He said something, his problem. Or the Mariners get to pick some guys who are also suspended because it was a 2 relief pitchers and a nobody, and the Mariners got their entire offense suspended. It is not the same thing when they started this fight. That needs to be addressed too. How the suspension is all that. I know that you're doling it out for the fight, but the fight was caused by Matt Trout's comments and the Angels hitting somebody in the head the week before. Like, they started this 2 times over. The Mariners didn't even throw at anybody. All started from them. That was complete bullshit. But I digress. Mariners playing awesome. Hopefully they can get healthy to keep this going, because I think it's a little smoke and mirrors with some of the offense at the bottom. But Cal Raleigh playing awesome. Like, we have to love the young guys. Like Kevin said, Cal Raleigh's been awesome. Julio Rodriguez has been amazing. Clearly going to win Rookie of the Year if this keeps up. Kirby and Logan Gilbert killing it in the rotation. Mm-hmm. Like, the 4 guys they've called up, other than Kelnick, that's the 5th guy. The 4 guys are killing it right now. Like, been fantastic. So I'm saying all wins on the young guy front, and yeah, it's been a fun ride, because that's what I was looking forward to last year. I was like, hey, how are these all young guys going to do? Oh, Logan Gilbert shows some flashes. Kelnick looks lost. Oh, that's okay. But this year's completely different. All the young guys look fantastic. So this is like a really big deal.
And Noelvi Marte's been hitting it.
Yeah, Hancock's healthy, throwing strikes, getting it, has a good ERA, has a 2-point-something ERA in AA. Like, it's looking a lot better. As Matthew said during the dark side, trust the process. Here you go.
Well, I do want to give, first of all, credit where credit's due. Lauren got me a new Mariners hat, and then they started playing better. So shout out to the best girlfriend in the world, Lauren. So that's probably part of the reason
I think
why
that's
they're playing
90%.
so.
That's probably 90%.
Yeah, that's
You
probably
bought the
90% of
hat,
it.
That's probably
And Sean mentioned, how the Mariners were down for a while, and first of all, please don't, people out there, please don't base your opinions on Twitter, because Twitter is overreact central. Like a few weeks ago, there were people, saying Scott should be fired, Jerry should be fired, all this stuff sort of, and it's just like, let's just calm down and wait for the season to continue to play out. And like I've said on this podcast many times, I don't care until August rolls around. I don't care. Like, once August rolls around, we'll see where they're at, and then we'll know what they are. Because
just be in the race. Again, they're not going to probably make the playoffs, but just be in the race.
And they're getting close to 500 right now. That's fine. We're getting close to the All-Star break. We're getting close to August. That's when the games really actually start to matter. So Mariners have picked it up. It's great to see. You guys have mentioned all the players that are playing well. Julio, give Julio whatever he wants. Give him the keys to the city. Give him his own key to T-Mobile Park. Give him a key to Lumen Field across the street. I don't even care. Lock that man up for as long as we can, because he's fun to watch. He's a great player, and I want him in Seattle forever. I don't want him to go Griffey. I want him to be the Edgar route. I want him to be here forever. Cal Raleigh, like you guys mentioned, has been playing well. Really love to see that. And Kevin mentioned the fight. That was a real fight. That wasn't a baseball fight. That was a real fight.
JP has Jesse Winker's back. There's no doubt about that.
and Sean and I are big hockey fans. Hockey has fighting that's allowed, and fighting in hockey generally is not about the guy across from you. Hockey, it's generally to get your guys on the bench going, to get your teammates fired up, to get them like motivated to get out there and score some goals, hit some guys, do something. Now, I'm not saying fighting should be legal in all sports, although that's an interesting debate topic. But
I do it. Baseball allow it. Let's go. Although two people got hurt in that fight for baseball, and none of the two were actually throwing punches, so maybe baseball shouldn't be allowed to fight.
So maybe don't fight Jesse Winker. That's probably a good call. But it was. I think Kevin is right that it a little fire under them, and I think it kind of brought this team a little bit closer together, because in those moments, like you said, Sean, JP had Jesse's back. Jesse just joined this team, so to get that kind of backup from guys you've only been playing with for a few months, that's big for Jesse, I'm sure. And I think Jesse's been playing better since that point. You guys might have the numbers to back that up, but I think Jesse and the team is starting to kind of feel like a team. They're starting to play, but that's part of the reason why they're starting to win more games. Now, obviously, the pitching has been pretty solid for the most part. The run support has been the thing that's lacking, and Julio's bat's getting better. I think JP's still playing pretty well. Ty France, that's very unfortunate, that injury he had at first base. Hopefully he'll make his way back soon. That happened while we were away. But like we mentioned, Mitch Haniger is going to come back soon. Kyle Lewis is going to come back at some point. So this team will have depth, it will have options, and hopefully it will have offense to back up the pitching that has been pretty solid for the most part. I think Robbie Ray's been pitching better these last few starts. Flexen hasn't been quite as good as he was last year, but I like what I'm seeing from Marco. I like what I'm seeing from Logan Gilbert. And we mentioned Kirby. So I think this team needs to stay the course and keep doing what they're doing. Just keep getting a little bit better, because they're not out of it. It's not out of the realm of possibility for them to get up to whatever their goals are, to have above 500, to make the playoffs. Any of their goals are still in reach at this point at 40 and 42. So I think this team needs to keep going the way it's going. So I do want to mention, should we all order Jesse Winker a pizza? Because that also appears to be a way to help Jesse Winker play better. If you haven't heard the story, there was someone, I believe, on Twitter who ordered a pizza and sent it to LA Stadium. He got the pizza.
They let the pizza in.
Yeah,
that's the part
surprising.
that blew me away.
That's surprising. And then Jesse messaged her later and said he got the pizza. So If you want to order Mariners
for her.
pizzas,
Good
yeah.
for her. But I
Yeah.
can't believe they let the pizza in. But yeah.
And I need to ask you guys a question because there's a player on the team recently that I don't really know who that is, and I'm gonna share him getting used to the outfield celebration here that he hasn't been a part of yet. So that they just needed Julio and Jesse to kind of show him the ropes here, and that is Marcus Wilson. So Sean, Kevin, who's Marcus Wilson? Sean, I'm gonna start with you.
Honestly, I don't know much about Marcus Wilson. He's not much of a prospect. I believe he's a little older. He was a Cougar, but I believe he is a Cougar of a different breed than a WSU Cougar. Let me see here. I got to look up his college here.
You're in Houston?
Did he go to Houston?
That would be the Cougars, yeah.
I think that's the only other Cougars I know is Houston.
BYU.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, I think he was drafted out of high school, I think. I thought someone said he was like a Cougar, maybe his like high school mascot or something. I don't know. But yeah, he's 25. He was traded for he was where did he come from? I don't know much about him, to be honest. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I think he was picked by Arizona. Yeah, Arizona Diamondbacks out of high school. Yep. But it's just he doesn't have much he's a filler till Jared Kelenic comes back, and I think honestly Jared Kelenic got pulled out of today's game, so I make of that what you will. I don't know if that means he's coming up, but let me look at his minor league numbers here.
Well, this can also lead Sean,
he's a guy. He's just a guy, unfortunately, but
this can also lead into a prospect report as well. So
he's got some speed power combo. Nothing wrong with that, but some solid numbers across the board. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's ranked very high. He is the Mariners' 31st prospect overall in the minors. So 25 years old, not
bad,
not over age, but he's probably right on age though for AAA at where he's at right now. But good speed power combo. Let's see what he's got. And again, I think he's here till Kyle, like Kevin said, Kyle Lewis started rehab. Kellen got pulled from today's game. Who knows what that means? I don't know if that means like day off or whatever, but make of that what he will. But I don't think he's gonna stick around for much longer, more than maybe a couple weeks. But hope he learns that celebration a lot. Let's put it that way.
Let's hope so. Kevin, do you got a prospect report for us? Anybody that you're kind of seeing in the minor leagues, Mariners minor league farm system that's caught your eye?
Well, as I was mentioned, Noel Marte kind of he's been cooking a little bit more lately because for a while people were a little bit hesitant on him. There's our pitching down in the minors. There's some names that I was kind of seeing over their timeline that were having some pretty good outings that weren't really like household names like Mako or Hancock. Let me see if I can find one of them here. But like, I mean, not like backbreaking George Kirby like type crap, but let's see here.
Oh, I got one. It's still the same guy we talked about here, Edwin Arroyo. 12 home runs, 16 stolen bases, 70 games. Yeah, essentially this. He's 12 and 16 in the minors at A-ball.
What team?
A-ball. Yeah, 18 years old. He is very young for that level. 140 WRC plus, on base of 400, slugging of 530. BABIP's a little high, so it'll probably come down, but everything else, like it's real. It's not luck driven.
And he's a shortstop prospect who actually has a good fielding prospect.
He is climbing up rankings. He was a second round pick this last draft after Ford. So yeah, he was 17 last year. Did okay, probably a little worse on average, but again, he was 17 years old, so he was a baby. Still a baby at 18. But yeah, like doing some very good things, and he's been crazy hot since like the last 2 weeks. So it's watch out. 1,000 OPS the last 2 weeks. So
most of the plays I'm seeing are Noel Marte. Like They're not
Harry
really
Ford-
giving
Harry
like
Ford's
a
still-
liner. They're just giving like single plays and stuff like that. But
Harry Ford, age
Yeah.
19 season, same thing. Looking like doing some nice things. 120 WRC plus. That is 20% better than average. I'm liking what he's doing. I'm trying to find Marte's numbers right here. 120 average or 120 WRC plus in high A. So, 9 and 10, like Kevin said, almost 10 and 10.
Bobby Miller, 6 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 3 walks, 0 runs.
I think if we're gonna do this, we. Oh gosh, now I forgot where I can't find him now.
Not bad.
Sorry, I had a pop up on this website, so I'll stop. Who is?
Who are you looking up?
I was gonna say his name. The guy who's been just going bananas in the minors.
Also, happy 4th of July, everyone.
Oh,
in Sean's
Taylor-
background.
Oh gosh, yeah. Sorry, I wish I could stop.
I can
it.
hear a little bit in my background.
Taylor Dollar, who officially bumped his ERA below 1. His last recent start.
Hancock's game yesterday was 5.2 innings, 0 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks, 85 pitches, and 55 of them were strikes.
His
Like-
ERA dropped down to 2.5. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. I just want him to stay healthy, get some innings. Stuff looked like it plays. He's at 30 something innings this year. Tyler Dollard and Emerson Hancock, AA, both 23 years old. No rush. But those two guys, Levi Stout, Devin Sweet, again, Levi Stout, we already talked about on here. But they're all 23. That AA line, that AA one then, 22 years old. That has a 6
He
ERA.
was doing a lot of high fastballs of like 96. Damn.
Yeah, he's got to kind of get his control down a little bit, but like they have a lot of like burners down there. So it's
I think he meant to put it like he was throwing it high fastball, but in the zone still.
yeah.
And they I think he made him chase up the ladder.
Yeah. They're both, all those young guys at AA are 23. They're right on pace to be making a debut next year, like Kirby did at 24. So there's gonna be a real fight, I think.
Brian O'Keefe had a 3 home run game.
Yeah, he's the
ago.
catcher. I think he's the catcher.
Still, I mean, a 3 home run game.
Yeah, he's a 30-year-old AA catcher or AAA catcher.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he is who he is. But I mean, do you? But or if O'Keefe can come and give us some innings, that's awesome. But yeah, I think he is who he is. Since Tom Murphy's out and Terrence can't get in a fight without getting hurt, so.
All right.
He's for you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the All-Star selection. So we talked about it before anyone else did. So you can go back, look at that episode. We talked about it before the voting even started. So let's give an update on where that is. So they are in phase 2 of the voting right now, and it goes through this Friday. And this will select the All-Star game starters, and it's down to 2 at each position. And only one Mariner made it through, and that is the injured first baseman Ty France. It is him and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So I think we know how that voting is going to go, unfortunately. But we talked about who else we think might make the All-Star game. I know I predicted 4 with Gilbert, Julio, France, and JP. So revisiting those before the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, I'm pretty confident in Gilbert. I'm not entirely sure he's going to make it, but I think he has done enough to secure a spot in the All-Star game. Now, whether that happens, who knows? JP, shortstop is a crowded position, so that's looking less and less likely. Julio, on the other hand, is making a very good case in June. Do I think he gets it? There's probably a pretty crowded AL outfield, so I think he might miss it by just a little bit. But I think Julio will definitely make it next year when the game's in Seattle. So I'm going to change what I thought in June, and I am going to just go with the 2. I think it will be Logan Gilbert. I think it will be Ty France. I think JP and Julio just missed the cut to make the All-Star game. As much as it pains me, JP, love you. Julio, you deserve it, but that's just kind of the way the world is at the moment, unfortunately. So I'm going to change it down to 2. Julio deserves it. He's not going to get it, I don't think. Sean, looking back at your predictions, are you changing it or what do you think?
Um, I said Ty France. Ty France will get in. I will say this: Ty France has been better than Vlad Jr. this year, but Vlad will get it the starting job. But Ty France has been better. He actually has been the best first baseman in the American League. So yeah, fourth best in baseball. So should be Ty France's job. I will say I think Julio gets in because they're not. It's not just the fan votes and then that's it. There's backup spots. I don't see how, with all the hype and everything like that, he doesn't deserve it. I just will say the first three guys are clearly, he should not be a starter. I love the Mariners fans, but Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, and Jordan Alvarez are just like, they're in a different class right now. I'm all for Julio Rodriguez, but like, those guys are just insane.
In this year's voting, the top vote getter in phase one makes it, and it was Aaron Judge in the American League, so he is automatically
the highest WAR in all of baseball. So that is fair. He already has 4. So Mike Trout is second at 3.7, and Jordan Alvarez is 3.6. I will say Kyle Tucker just went nuts and no one noticed, and now he passed Julio Rodriguez in WAR. So, but Julio is like the 4th outfielder in the American League. 6th overall because apparently just Mookie the 5th. He's the 5th outfielder in the American League and the 6th in all baseball. Mookie Betts is the only National League guy above him. But let
me just say right now, in the second phase of voting, for the 2 other outfield All-Star starters is Mike Trout, George Springer, Giancarlo Stanton, and Lourdes Gurriel. So
the fact that Lourdes is in there is insulting. Frankly, it's insulting to Julio Rodriguez.
This is a fan vote, so keep that in mind as well.
It's Toronto. It's insulting, and that's why fans should never vote for the things because they're dumb. They got Aaron Judge right. It's hard because shocker, he's hitting well and he's in New York. And I mean, Mike Trout's the face of baseball, so obviously they're going to get those 2 right. Jordan Alvarez should be the 3rd outfielder. He's pretty easily. Full point higher WAR than basically everybody else who plays baseball. I will say Julio will get in. Ty France will get in. Logan Gilbert should get in. I'm pretty. Gosh, now that I think about it, I'm a little nervous.
Like, what % confident are you that Logan gets in? I'm at like a 75. I would be shocked if he didn't at this point. He's played so well.
If he didn't get in, I would say confident of him getting in. I say like 30%. I don't know. There's so many pitchers, and the manager decides who a lot of the pitchers are of a team. I don't think he's going to pick a Logan Gilbert. Like you said, next year I could see a Logan Gilbert if he does this, but it's just so hard that there's just so many guys. I just don't know if Logan Gilbert gets
tied for second in the league in wins right now with 9.
No, but wins don't matter. Like it's some of those quality starts. He's really good. He is like 29th in baseball in WAR. So I mean, there's a lot of guys in front of him right now. But
14th in ERA in the league right now.
Yeah, but Matthew, you just said 14th is a double-digit number. He's been very good. Trust me. I was the guy who said
in the league.
Yeah, I know. But it's not all about ERA. I've been Logan Gilbert's gonna be the best Mariners pitcher, better than Robbie Ray before the season started. Trust me, I'm on the Logan Gilbert bandwagon. But there's a lot of guys in the American League, like Kevin Gossman, Shane McClanahan, Martin Perez. What happened? How? Shane Bieber, Justin Verlander, Alex Manoah, like Tarek Skubal. There's so many guys who've been so good. Like it's Frankie Montas who we just saw who got hurt. So there you go. Might be one.
Gilbert is 18th in WAR, tied for 18th. Sorry,
it's 29th. What are you looking at?
ESPN.
No. The common accepted ones are Fangraphs and Baseball References. It's called the BR and the FWAR. That's when you see those on like things. Those are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are the 2 that are used. So BR, FWAR, when you see those. I have no idea how ESPN's WAR is graded, and that is probably silly because usually they're pretty close. These Baseball Reference and Fangraphs, but yeah, Logan Gilbert, I don't think he gets in right now. So I will say will be 2 for 3. And I'm going to say this before I pass it to Kevin. is official. Trevor Story did pass JP Crawford and WAR already, so that's the thing. Unfortunately, should have got Trevor Story. I still want Trevor Story. It's gone. I'm sorry. I gotta get over it.
One day. Kevin, what do you think? All-Stars, Mariners, who are they?
As we mentioned, France. At this point, it'd be very hard to deny Julio. Is he going to get the starting role? God, no. Unless
No, it's not possible.
Unless Tucker and Alvarez get hurt, maybe.
In the voting, Kevin, he's not in the phase 2, so he's not starting.
Yeah. So, like I said, a lot of people would have to get hurt for him to start. A lot of people.
Sandy Alcantara has a full 1.1 more WAR in ESPN. What is this? Okay, sorry, that was stupid.
It's okay.
It's so stupid.
But I think he'll be he won't be a starter, but he'll be an all-star. Just what he's done in the month of June as a rookie is just stupid. Ty France. Yeah, Gilbert maybe, but I'm kind of more on the percentage of Sean just because, like I said, there's a lot of American League pitchers, and then you also have like the relieving bullpens. Like, how far out do you put starters and then start like once you get to the 6th, 7th inning? Are you still going to put a starter in, or are you going to put in like the really top end closers like Clay Holmes and stuff like that? Like, when do they come in? So there's only so many innings that you can demonstrate these pitchers, sadly. JP could be a possibility. I mean, he has been very good, but shortstop is crowded and he's still not a high household name. Maybe he might sneak in as a backup. But
so like you said, Kevin, it's so loaded.
It's still, yeah. So at this point, I would probably, and I don't think anybody from the bullpen is probably going to go. So probably I would say probably just France and Julio at this point. France should be a starter, but he won't because he's hurt, of course. And then Julio being a backup.
Well, France could get the starting role if he's healthy enough to come back and he wins the vote over Vlad Guerrero Jr., which I'm not going to put my money on him out being winning the vote over Vlad
They
Guerrero.
just trade for Santana a couple of days ago because France is going to be gone.
That is true. And good segue, Kevin. So I'm going to throw it to you first. Carlos Santana was acquired from the Kansas City Royals. How significant is this move for you? Is it not significant, a little bit, or a lot?
I mean, it's kind of significant. It just shows you that their timetable for France is a little bit longer than what they expected it to be. So they wanted something a little bit more consistent than Kevin, what's his face? I think it was me actually out there. And I was just like, it was my alternate Earth 714 form, type deal. And I was
you went really nerdy on that reference. Like 4 people probably got that.
Kevin something.
I appreciate it.
I forgot what his last name is, but it's Kevin something. So they wanted something a little bit more consistency, especially since they're only 2 games up. They're kind of trying to make they want to be respectable. They're kind of going for a wild card push. They want to give the fans, especially with this team playing better, so to get a veteran presence like Santana, it's better than throwing some random Kevin guy out there. And you don't really have, because other than Evan White, who I think is hurt, I think he might be dead. I don't know. I haven't heard Evan White's name in forever, to be honest.
He got hurt again.
Is he hurt? Oh, okay. Other than Evan White, you really don't have much for prospects that you want to throw out there, to be honest, at first.
Not that are close to being ready.
Yeah.
Aguilar, but he's 19. Like, no, he's not ready.
No. So he's an on-base guy. So that's a good thing, I guess. But other than that, you're not throwing. And what we gave away for him too wasn't too bad. So all in all, the move's okay. It's a good placement holder to have. He's going to get you some runs and stuff like that. But is he Ty France? God, no. He's not even close to Ty France's. He couldn't pick up his shoe if he tried. But he's a veteran verse baseman who's not gonna fuck shit up like a rookie, nobody name guy like you're probably gonna bring up if you don't go get a guy like Carlos Santana. So it mainly just says that the injury to Ty France was a little bit more significant than they thought, and they just wanted to solidify the position until Ty France gets back.
Sean, do you agree with what Kevin said?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, I'm not super against a I forgot his name for a second. Carlos Santana acquisition, but like Kevin said, it doesn't really move the needle for me too much. Again, Kevin said we didn't give a lot for him. That's true. Like, but it's just like, what does he do? But Kevin's like, he gets on base quite a bit. I'm actually reading here that Ty France is expected to return to action this week, and they believe during the Toronto series.
Maybe he might make All-Star. Maybe.
Which, that's Thursday. Is we're recording at 4th of July.
That, or maybe if they plan to return him, they want to give him. He'll play 2 games and then be off 2 games.
Let's be real here too. We definitely need a DH, and Carlos Santana or Ty France is much better DH material than what we've got going there. So I'm totally fine with this, because it really comes down to Mitch Haniger's health, because Kyle Lewis, if he's come back, he could play right field. We still need a DH, and Carlos or Ty France or Kyle Lewis, they can kind of do their thing and rotate, and we could figure it out from there. Yeah. So Kevin is correct. It might not. I thought Kevin was like spot on, but maybe it means someone else's health is not what we thought it was. Maybe Ty France is healthier, but maybe Mitch Haniger isn't as ready as we thought.
Does Carlos play anything else besides first? Does he play second?
I think he's played outfield before, but it is like Jordan Alvarez running around out there. It is you do not want him running around out there.
No, you got so much young talent that you can put.
Yeah, like if it's worst comes to worst, like
I'd rather have Kelnick out there.
Yeah, we got Kelnick. We got I can't remember the gentleman's name who is learning the dance. Tramel's hurt.
Marcus Wilson.
Marcus Wilson, yeah. He just a placeholder till hopefully Kyle Lewis comes back. So I just think, we got a need at DH, and one of the two, him or Ty France, can play DH, and I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, just before the All-Star break, the Mariners have they had a little 2-game series in San Diego, so this will be uploaded by Tuesday. So you might be watching this as you're watching the game. Who knows? Then they've got a 4-game homestand against Toronto after a day off. That's their final homestand of the first half of the season. Friday is on Apple TV Plus. So if you have Root, you're out of luck, but I have Apple, so I'm in luck. At Washington for 2 games after a day off, and then they wrap up before the All-Star break with 4 games in Texas. So they're at 40 and 42 right now, and we played this game last time, but they have, let's see, 4, 8, 10. We're not counting tomorrow, so they have 10 games, not counting tomorrow's game at San Diego. What record do you want them to be at going into the All-Star break with those 10 games? So I'm going to go ahead and start off. So they're 40 and 42. So I don't know what happens tomorrow, whatever. But if they can, I think if they can split with Washington, which, they're going to be going to the East Coast, it's going to suck. But I think if they split with Washington and take 3 of 4 from either Toronto and or Texas, preferably Texas, because that's going to be the easier game. So if the Mariners go about 7-3, 6-4, I would be quite happy with where this team is at going to the All-Star break. Almost 500. Like if you're a game or 2 below 500, that would be perfect going to the All-Star break.
Well, if you're 7-3, like you said, they'd be above 500.
They would be, but that I'm also excluding tomorrow's game. So depending on that result as well, you'd be around 500.
I think it'd still be above 500 if you excluded 500 game. If they even lost that game, they'd still be above 500.
So I'm going to say 6-4 is what I'm looking for in those final 10 games with Toronto, Washington, Texas. Sean, what are you looking for?
I'm the same. I think if they lose tomorrow, I'd like them to win, obviously, but San Diego's a good team. Like taking 2 is hard from San Diego. Clevenger is very good at pitching. Toronto's going to be tough. You hope for a split because Toronto's a good baseball team. Washington, you got to sweep Washington. Washington is a dumpster fire. Like they are so bad. You got to beat Washington twice, pretty much. I will say, Joshua Gray, sneaky pitcher. So be careful. He has a lot of hype, or not a lot of hype, but sneaky kind of like depth fantasy community hype. So he has some skill that, just the more average fan might not know who Gray is. Joshua Gray. He's going to pitch the first game slated right now of that series. So he might give the Mariners some trouble, but you got to sweep them. And then Texas, you probably take 3 out of 4 because it's a 4-game series. So I'm Matthew. If you're 500 All-Star break, I chalk it up as a win. Is that 6-4, depending on how the game tomorrow goes? Yeah, 6-4. Get to 500 before the All-Star break.
Kevin, what do you think?
I expect 7-3 out of this team because you want, like as Sean mentioned, I think you could probably take a game from San Diego tomorrow. They are a good team, but I don't know. We just have this thing with San Diego.
They whooped up on San Diego today, and he is.
Yeah.
Sean Manaea is a good pitcher. So.
Yeah. Toronto is going to be the tough team. Try to at least split with them. As Sean mentioned, you should sweep them.
You do play Stripling and Kikuchi. Those are 2 winnable games. Manoa and Gossman are absolute monsters.
Yeah. The Nationals game is kind of what we've mentioned. It's kind of like Anaheim. God damn it. Yeah. Los Angeles Angels. There's this guy. He's kind of good. His name is Juan Soto. Mariners. Walk him.
Juan Soto will walk. That is what he does. He will take a walk.
Yeah. The only other force on that team is old Papa Cruz.
Josh Bell has been so interesting.
Yeah. I
guess so, Kevin, that's the reaction that I would say. Yeah, that's probably about it though. Like he's not great, but he's a guy and he's doing
respectable.
Okay.
Respectable.
He's hit some home runs in baseball.
But don't let Juan Soto beat you.
Yes.
Don't let Juan Soto beat you. Walk him, for the love of God. It's the exact same situation. He's a top all-star player that's gonna get paid somewhere else, but he's like Mike
Seattle,
Trout.
Maybe so.
But he's like Mike Trout. Walk the dude, for the love of God. You should sweep Texas. You should. Now, if they take
it's 4 games, Kevin. That's a lot. Sweeping a 4-game series.
No, but they're so shitty. Now they have been winning. I mean, they did. I think they split against the Mets, actually.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it, Kevin. Texas is like.
Well, what's his face has been going great. Like they're that one pitcher that might make All-Star for them.
Yeah,
they're really good
at it. The guy who's just been terrible his entire career is like, I'm the best pitcher.
He's like, I'm gonna have 7 wins in a row, or what is it? 8 wins, 7 wins in a row.
Yeah, everyone's like, who are you? What are you doing?
I don't know. It's been super random. Some people get really lucky good years, I guess, on a weird team. I mean, they bought in infield, but
they're unfortunately getting out at the right time, the infield.
But and then that's the same thing with Texas. Like you have 2 people that can kind of hit in Seager and what's his fucking face that came over from Toronto, Marcus
Semien,
the Semien monster. Don't let them beat you, and you're good. That's all you have to do. Those are the 2 threats. Just God.
They really can't pitch, so you better mash these guys.
Yes. Oh my God, murderfy the hell out of them, please. So there is no excuse for them to not sweep and at least get 7 if you're taking a split. Well, technically, if you're taking a split with Toronto, it'd be 8. But
3 out of 4 is probably like best case. Like sweeping a 4-game series is hard.
Aim for 7. Aim for 7 wins. That's what I'm telling you, Mariners. Aim for 7. For the love of God, do it.
All right, we've got a little bit of time left. Sean wrote "Trust the process?" on the show doc. So, Sean, what do you got for the Mariners?
Oh God.
Well, like what Matthew said during the whole downside, we were at 10 games there. The sky was falling. Matthew made fun of "Trust the process" in our little chat we have, and my response isn't to like it is again to tell people what that means. What that means is the process isn't always gonna work, but the process needs to just be smart and sound. Because again, at the end of the day, these are people, and the people have variables that you have no idea. The process is just build a team the right way. Does it work? It might not work, but the Mariners are doing it the correct way. The process is correct. Like, build a strong minor league system. Could they all come up and all fail? Yes, they all in theory could, but they're doing it the right way. That is how you win consistently at a major league level. Is how the Astros, the Dodgers, all these teams built a team because the Rays, all these teams, they build teams because they grow their own prospects and fill in with players as needed. But you build the core the way that you're building it. The Mariners did it correctly. They did it really well. They drafted, Jared Poe needs more credit. They drafted high upside or low ceiling, maybe not super high upside guys, but got a bunch of really good safe pitchers. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, these guys are killing it now. And then after they got a bunch of like good solid processes, traded for Kelnick, got Julio in the minor league, got a little bit lucky there. And then they drafted crazy upside guys, Arroyo, Ben Ford. Their process is correct. But again, when someone says trust the process, that doesn't mean it's going to always work. It's the smart thing to do, because at the end of the day, there are variables you can never control for. And that's all I'm saying with trust the process. I was explaining to Matt, trying to explain to Matt, he's like, it's not working. I'm like, it doesn't, trust the process doesn't mean it will work. That doesn't mean it's 100%, it's always going to work, but the process just has to be sound, because we know most of the time that's what wins. Baltimore Oriole, trust the process, it didn't work. They had to restart, do it again, and now it might be working this time. But they failed on a trust the process once before. They fired their people and got new people in there. They don't always work, but as long as the process is correct, that's all I can ask for. Because again, when you're drafting these guys, when you're getting Jared Kelnick, he's 19 years old, he's 18 years old. Like, a lot can change in 4 years of what COVID happened. Like, who knows what would happen without COVID, but the process is correct. So yes, trust the process. If it doesn't work at the end, you fire everybody, you start over. But
plus, you will know if the process isn't working if the US Open Twitter makes fun of your team. You will then know. Okay.
But again, that's the frustrating part. Pete Carroll and John had a horrible process. And then
Drew Lock taking it on the chin.
Yeah. Since the draft, though, the Seahawks process has been very good. And that's the frustrating part. It could have been happening with those, but I won't get into that. But their process has been good since then. Smart moves, smart draft. Again, Matthew, that doesn't mean, or not Matthew, but like everybody, that doesn't mean all of these prospects or this draft could fail. Everybody could bottom out, and I'll still be happy with it because it was the correct process. Because at the end of the day, these are humans that are variables. You don't know what they're going to be, but they addressed everything. They didn't reach other than one running back. But again, like other than that, you drafted up, you got high upside guys in the third and fourth rounds, which is crazy smart. You got 2 O linemen, like you did correct process. That's all I'm asking for, because again, so many variables. Just make the process correct. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but the process should just be correct. And that's
I've always associated trust the process with Joel Embiid, the Philadelphia 76ers. And in the earlier part of his career, he was hurt. It didn't go well. But then once he started playing well, the team started playing better, and they've been consistently good for the last 4 years. So if that's the process, that's great.
But what if it had failed and Embiid got his career-ending injury and that's it? The process was still correct, but the variables changed. Like that's not, you cannot equate for that. There's no analytics that can equate for those type of things.
Well, I would say that
no one can.
I would say that there's not only one process. There are many different ways to do a process, as for
there is a big framework of doing the process. The process is a certain way. You build a minor league team and then go from there. You can't just get a bunch of baseball free agents and put a team together and go, because you just can't buy a team like that. You build.
I mean, the Yankees can.
The Yankees, their Yankees best players, Aaron Judge, who's homegrown. Like all their pitchers, like
the Mets can. The Dodgers can.
The Mets haven't done anything. They haven't been to the playoffs forever. The Dodgers did not. The Dodgers are all. They have one free agent signing on their team. The rest is like they did it. They traded for Mookie Betts from prospects. Who's the other guy that they got? Freddie Freeman is like their first guy. That's it.
Freeman.
That's how they did it. The Astros, they did it all homegrown. Signed Verlander. That's it. Like
I guess Taylor wasn't homegrown.
They traded for him though. You trade from him from the guys you grow up and trade to get a guy. That's what I'm saying. Like you build it all this way. Like you could trade to get pieces because those are the pieces you cultivated. And that's your process. Like the Mariners could have all these picks and be like, hey, do you want to trade for Juan Soto? That's fine, because that's still your process, because you cultivated a Emerson Hancock. You did all these other things and traded to get a Juan Soto with the guys, your process. That's fine. That's part of your process. The part that's not your process is signing all these free agents, spending a bunch of money, like, and hoping it works together and compiling a team. You build from a core in baseball, like get young guys, get controllable assets for a long time, and then see how it goes from there. Not try to, like the Mariners, what they did when Jerry first got there is like, okay, we got these old guys, let's try to make it work. And then like it didn't work. And they're like, okay, we got to do the process correctly, tear it down, build the minors. We're doing it. Not going to say like Kelenich's going to work out. Maybe even Kirby falls apart next year. Like Logan Gilbert, heaven forbid, never pitches again after tomorrow. Knock on wood. But like, what I'm saying, like, but like at the end of the day, these are human beings who are variables, and it's just hard to. But the process has been correct so far, and the Seahawks process since the draft has been correct so far. All picks could fail, but I won't be mad because the process was correct. Like Matthew said, the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons just doesn't like playing basketball sometimes. And so, who, you know, like.
Doesn't like playing basketball at all, actually.
Who could, like, the process was going fine. Like you said, they were doing great. And then Ben Simmons was like, I don't play basketball anymore. And everyone's like, okay, like, I don't know how we could have planned for that, but that's okay. Like, and then he gets traded to a team he wants to and then stops playing for them too. So I don't know what, like, their process was correct. The end result might not be there, but the process is correct. And that's what both franchises since the NFL draft have done the correct thing. And I'm happy with both franchises so far. I'll ignore the part before the NFL draft, but like, that will haunt me forever, but that is fine.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Trust the process. If you want to get involved, tell us how the Mariners are doing. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Bader Matt. Sean's at Sean Scorbett. Kevin's at Kev's the first name believes me in a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos. Dislike our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below about the Mariners, about the Storm, about the Rain, about the Sounders, about the Kraken. Quick shout out, Seattle Seawolves, the rugby team, runners up in the Major League Rugby this year. You know, can't win them all. They're 3-time champions, but they made it to the championship game, almost won a 4th title. So good season for the Seattle Seawolves. Next week, hopefully we'll be back. But things happen. We all have lives. You know, things happen. So we might be back next week, but next episode, we'll have more Mariners, I'm sure. We'll probably talk some Storm. We'll probably talk some Kraken draft. And, you know, training camp is like 3 weeks away. So we might have some Seahawks stuff as well. So with that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports. Bring back our Sonics. Fuck SCOTUS.